going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with my weekly recap, breakdown, and review of the latest episode of Hulu's Only Murders in the Building. We're talking episode 6, titled To Protect and Serve, an episode in which we see our crew getting help from Detective Williams. The podcast is blowing up, and we have a new prime suspect. We're breaking it all down here in this spoiler review, but before we do so, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. If you all enjoyed this spoiler review, well, make sure to like and share this review. It helps out the channel a lot, but I also appreciate the support. And in those comments, let's talk about this new episode. What do we think about this new relationship between Mabel and Oscar? Our thoughts on Detective Williams giving them the evidence. Is that going to end up biting her in the butt from giving away evidence on a closed but still open case? And of course, what do we think about Angel, Teddy, and the Tim connection? Let's talk about your thoughts and theories and everything in the comments below. So this, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't that I wasn't a fan of last week. I just feel like it just went by so quick and it just didn't really work for me as like a narrative. It wasn't my favorite episode, to say the least. This episode, I think, is my favorite episode. This was so meta. The fact that we can talk about moments of our characters in the show realizing the same thing that we are. It was great comedy, great writing. I like the moments. This was the first episode in which I was okay with our main three members kind of doing their own thing and kind of coming back together in the way they did. And again, the suspect, Teddy, the guy that's funding the sponsor turned suspect. It's a lot to break down. And Jan, even though you weren't in this episode, I still have my eyes on you. But let me know you guys' thoughts on this episode. I think it's my favorite so far, but let's talk about it in the comment section. So let's break it all down. Well, first, I have an announcement that you all probably saw earlier this week. The show is doing fantastic. It's doing so well that they just announced that there is a season 2 of Only Murders in the Building, which was great to hear, but then I'm thinking in the back of my head, damn it, we're going to probably end on a cliffhanger, which will be fun, but I like conclusions, and again, who knows, they might wrap up the season, they're going to open up a new case, but I'm so excited for season 2, but I'm thinking that we might not find out who the murderer is by the end of this season, but neither here nor there. It's great to hear the announcement. Let me know if you all are excited about that, but let's break it all down as we open up the episode with finally getting more of Davine Joy Randolph as Detective Williams. I'm such a big fan of Davine. She is so great in everything I've seen her in. I was hoping that we got more from her after seeing her episode 1, and we get more of her in this as we get some backstory when she was a kid. We see her present day situation with her wife. They're expecting a baby, and I love the conversation about the name of the baby. But it's in this scene that Detective Williams sees that her wife is a listener, one of those 17, well, at the beginning of the episode, one of those 17 subscribers of Only Murders podcast, as we see that she's listening into this. And I thought it was just so funny that the questions, and is it the cat? Did the cat murder Tim? The questions that her wife was asking Detective Williams are like the same questions that we're asking as an audience. I love when shows are like meta and they kind of know and keep in mind, the show is obviously produced and made months prior to premiering. So I love this kind of synergy that we're kind of invested in the story, as is the characters in the show. Really good opening there. But let's go back into the present day time as we pick up to where things happened last week with our crew finding out that Tim was involved in this kind of black market jewelry situation, as he is supposed to be meeting this character by the name of Cutter. They mentioned the name of Angel, who we'll talk about a little bit later, and that Tim was like very obsessed with buying jewelry from this Angel character. And by the way, like I said, we don't meet who Cutter is, but instead we meet someone that's very close to Mabel and her mother, Sylvie. And this is where Charles and Oliver kind of fill her in that, hey, your daughter's helping us out with this murder. She's involved in this podcast that has 17 subscribers. Her mom's just like, I don't really want to hear that because my daughter's she lives in the past and doesn't live for the current moment. So we kind of see that conflict of kind of that this is who Mabel is. She always wants to figure out things and solve a crime, as she does in this episode regarding getting back the crew. So we see that her mom, again, is kind of shaming Oliver and Charles, kind of taking advantage of her daughter a little bit in regards to she's so trapped in grief that these guys are just kind of playing into her grief, and that she regrets letting her continuously go to the apartment when she was younger, and she just wants them to leave her alone, let her just be, and let her just let the situation go. But we know Mabel, and we know this crew. I was like, dude, they're not going to break up. They're going to get back sooner rather than later, and they do by the end of this this episode. But again, I understand where her mom is coming from. She's just being a mom. She just wants the best for her daughter. But we see, I love this moment before they kind of part ways, knowing that they were going to get back together. She gives them, this episode is so funny to me, she gives them the social media advice in regards to, Twitter's so easy to use, but don't do TikTok. But again, they say their goodbyes for the moment, bringing us into Teddy wanting to meet with Oliver regarding the podcast. And I'm thinking, he's probably upset because they only have 17 subscribers. But no, he has some good news for them. But before we get to Teddy in this conversation, Detective Williams realizes there was a mistake handling this case, and her wife was like, "Oh, are you going to be the hero and reopen it and get this thing going again?" She's like, "No, that's not how these things work. This is meant to be closed, and I'm not going to reopen it," as they're painting the nursery for their son that's coming to be by the name of Keith. But I'm thinking in my head, she's going to go back and help them out because she seems like a good person. This goes back to the opening of how she was as a kid. So very similar to Mabel, she wants to help people out. So we get a moment here with Oscar, who, again, I mentioned in my review last week, I didn't think the chemistry was all that great, but he definitely did a little bit better for me in the acting department, where I felt the kind of chemistry, will they, won't they situation within this episode, as him and Mabel find the picture from when the night that Zoe died, and they see that the ring is on her finger is similar to the ring that Tim was looking for. So he's looking for this missing ring for the night that Zoe died, and this is where Oliver and Mabel, they kind of table that discussion because they go back to their kind of friendship, wanting to be in a relationship. And this isn't out of left field, by the way. If you all remember back in episode 2, when we saw them as the Hardy Boys with the night that Zoe died, you guys remember Oscar was like, "Damn, Mabel, you're looking good." So there's always been this type of attraction between two characters. It's just that obviously he was in a relationship, and then obviously he was in jail for 10 years. So now they have the opportunity to kind of tell their true feelings for one another as they share a kiss together, which it is kind of weird that his girlfriend died and like he's still like, it is kind of a weird situation. But again, the heart knows what the heart wants. But we get this cameo, who I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest Jimmy Fallon fan. I don't find him to be that funny, but that's just my thoughts on that. But he has a cameo as he's interviewing Tina Fey's character Cinda, in regards of her poking fun of the podcast. And I'm thinking in my head, yeah, you guys are laughing. This is free promotion for their podcast, as it actually helps them out. And that's exactly why Teddy is inviting Oliver and Charles to his apartment, because he wants more episodes, as we do as well, as we got a season 2, which again is so meta in this episode. But he offers them $50,000, but Charles is like, "Yo, we can't take this in. We just talked to Mabel's mom. She's not a part of the crew. We don't want to exploit her trauma and her pain." So they're kind of conflicted. And this is where Teddy gives them a little bit of backstory of his family, his heritage, and why he wants to continue this investment. And he has these side jobs, these side investments because of Yaya and everything. And they agreed to take the check. But again, is it Yaya that maybe put a hit on Tim because they were getting too close to the jewelry situation? I still think Jan has something to do with all this. Let's talk about your theories in the comments. But Teddy, do you guys think it's Teddy? Do you think he is the one? Did he put a hit on Tim, or is it more to the story? Let's talk about it in the comment section. But moving on, we see that Sylvia accepts her daughter, wanting to find the murderer, as she kind of goes into, she's always, when she was younger, she skips to the end of the book. She wants to know how it ends, and she always wants to help people out and know how this certain thing happened. So of course the gang is getting back together, ladies and gentlemen, as we end with Detective Williams giving the crew a very important evidence, which is Tim's phone. And we see that at this point the podcast is growing, as is this show. And we wrap up with them going to almost tear that check, but then Charles realizes, wait, what is that? That's not Teddy's name on the check. It's Angel. And this is where they kind of put the pieces together, like Teddy, Angel, Tim, Death. There's some correlation there. There's a coincidence there. And we see that Mabel comes in with a peace offering with tamales. And obviously we know Oliver is a big fan of hummus. And they have their kind of peace treaty there. And they also get the phone that's in the mix. They don't have the password, but they're going to probably figure it out pretty soon. And again, I want to know who Tim was in a relationship with. Does that person know the password? But let's wrap it up, as I love the little punchline here. The prime sponsor is now the prime suspect in Teddy. And all the suspects have been wrong, but there is some connection there. Did Teddy put a hit on Tim for getting too close to his whole jewelry heist situation? Is Tim, or I should say Teddy's Yaya, is she a big bad? Is she connected in any way to Jan? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like I said, guys, this episode was fantastic. I thought the humor was great. The character moments were good. Oscar was much better to me in this episode. The pieces to the puzzle is really coming together. And again, the chemistry is just completely off the charts with everyone in the cast. And again, you give me more of Davine, I'm a happy guy because she's such a great actress, and I hope we get more of Detective Williams in the continuation. And also, like I said, Jan wasn't in this episode, but she's somewhere lurking around. I still got my suspicions on Jan, and as well as Oliver's son. But let me know your thoughts, your theories, your pros, your cons, and of course, what you hope to see in the weeks ahead in the comments below. I appreciate you all for watching this review. Before you leave, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and of course, subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss any of my other videos. As you can see on the screen now, subscribe to the channel, check out my other content. Hope you all are staying safe. Hope you enjoyed this review, and we'll see you on the next video.